We're starting off on this new series where we're looking at big conflicts that may have us doubt whether or not God exists, whether or not the Bible is relevant, whether or not I like this in the Bible or that. And today we're looking at what does the record say about what we know about history and what we see in the Bible. Let's take a look at round number one. Tactile evidence of archaeology. The tactile evidence of archaeology. When archaeology starts digging and when archaeology starts to find things that are mentioned, all of a sudden we have an insight to truth. And the crazy thing about the Bible is through archaeology, we can verify much of what is in the Bible to where perhaps Bible versus history isn't all that big of a showdown. When people read things in the Bible, specifically and especially the Old Testament, they go, wow, there's this old guy. We don't have any data for him because the basic mode of the cynic or the skeptic is this. I can never believe the Bible for anything, and it's only if I find something that's outside the Bible that verifies it. City of Jericho, boy, Joshua and the nation of Israel marching around Jericho 7 times, blowing trumpets, praying, and all of a sudden the walls fall down. It sounds like a great Sunday school story, doesn't it? It sounds like a great thing for Saturday morning cartoons on religious television. Wonderful, wonderful. And everyone says, this is crazy. There's no evidence of Jericho at all. And then what do you know? In 1868, they've unearthed the city and unearthed the walls. You can go visit it there today. Today, again, there was something that was in the Bible that was verified by archaeology. I'm not saying the Bible is an easy book to believe everything. I'm not saying everything in it right now is verifiable. But I'm saying as time goes on, we find with increasing regularity the Bible is not at odds with history. Number 2, here we go. Record 2, evidence of manuscripts. Evidence of manuscripts. The Barna Research Group, in conjunction with the American Bible Society, actually did a pretty interesting thing where they polled all Americans to ask them, what is a holy or sacred text, unprompted of any specific ones? And they found out that 80% of Americans, unprompted, named the Bible as a holy or sacred text. And yet, in our country, the amount of vitriol that comes against the Bible is unparalleled. You can't find any literary work. You can't find any religious work. You can't find anything that's been written that's had nearly as much criticism. C.S. Lewis, his conversion to become a believer in the Bible, he went from being, I'm not sure he was an agnostic or an atheist. He was the head of ancient literature at Oxford. Pretty smart guy, read virtually every ancient book there was or manuscript he could get his hands on. And one of the reasons he transitioned is because what he read in the manuscripts was really enlightening to him. I've been reading poems, romances, vision literature, legends, myths all my life. I know what they're like. I know that not one of them is like this. Either this is reportage, or else some unknown writer in the 2nd century without known predecessors or successors suddenly anticipated the whole technique of modern novelistic, realistic narrative. If it is untrue, it simply must be narrative of that kind. The reader who does not see this simply has not learned how to read. In the recording of this history, why is it, if you're trying to create a religion that everyone would follow, if you're trying to create a movement, how do movements get started? There's a figure like a Steve Jobs that's idolized. There's a figure like a Buddha. You never find anything out that's unusual about the guy. But yet all the movers of the early faith were all seen in the early manuscripts as losers. You don't start a movement that way. And yet, we are so quick to dismiss anything that's in the Bible that can't be verified any other way. And if we just let it read for itself, it actually stands on its own 2 legs pretty well. Number 3, the third round, data from societies and individuals. This is a really good question that comes in. Why does it seem the God Church Bible don't see men and women as equals? Everything is male-based. Can't wrap my brain around wives submitting to husbands. Let me look at the holistic thing today, which is this, with that question. There is this popular belief that the Bible is historically at odds with the liberation of women, that the Bible is historically at odds with the valuing of women, and this simply is not true. Again, talking worldview, you can't find any ancient text that says the things about women that we would like to be said about women in the way we understand it. It's because every ancient culture was male-dominated. Every single solitary one. Every single one. And we would like to see some nice pithy thing from Jesus that says what would say to us as Americans equal, but we just don't get that. But we do get crazy amounts of things in the Bible that are exalting women over and over and over again. One of them is Jesus is interacting with a woman who has a sordid sexual past. She's had adulterous affairs. She's had multiple sexual partners. She's now living with someone, having sex with somebody who she's not married to. He bumps into her at the well. They're talking at the well. She walks away, and here's what happens in John chapter 4. Just then his disciples came back, and they marveled that he was talking with a woman. It's not they marveled that he was talking with somebody of a sordid sexual past. They marveled that he was talking with a woman. Why is that? Because men don't talk to women in public in that society. They just don't. And yet Jesus is affirming the intelligence of a woman by talking to her in public in that society. This is a massive bombshell for them. Every time the Bible goes into a culture, the status of women is always elevated. Always. Every single time. In fact, this is why there's cultures and societies where it is illegal to have a Bible. All over the world still today. It's illegal to have a Bible because the teachings in the Bible elevate women to a place beyond where that society would have them to be. The crazy thing about the Bible and history is, how many of us in here right now would just say, man, if it wasn't that the Bible said X, Y, Z, I have no idea where my life would be right now. I have no idea what my marriage would be like right now if the Bible wasn't telling me to die for my wife. No idea. No idea where my family, my kids would be right now if the Bible didn't give me a very strong image of a strong and godly patriarch that loves and disciplines at the same time. I don't get that image anywhere else. I don't know where my life would be, without the scriptures telling me to turn the other cheek and not be vengeful, even though I just got a nasty email a couple hours ago. I don't know where I'd be. I don't know where I would be, where our church would be, really, if we didn't hear the words from the Bible telling us to be about poverty and CityLink, telling us to be against slavery that we're going against in India. Where would the world be without this scriptures? History would look a lot different.